All right, everyone, we are live. I think it's going to take 20 seconds to go live.
Oh, it's very exciting. Oh, that's what StreamYard does. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Cool.
All right, everyone, we are live now. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining in with us today. This is our ongoing Mindmatrix partner webinar series where we cover really cool topics that are relevant for our channel and partnerships community. So I'm your host today. I'm Akash. I lead go-to-market strategy and partnerships at Mindmatrix. So over the next half an hour, we are going to cover a very interesting but an overlooked topic around understanding your costs of running a very successful partner program. And during this discussion, we are going to touch different elements of understanding your cost structure, how to start going and capturing different types of costs that are associated with your partner program. So to cover this topic, we have invited one of our partners and subject matter expert, Linkon, who's a CEO and founder of Arys Consultant. They're based out of UK. So Linkon is a subject matter expert when it comes to understanding your pack. That is nothing but your partner acquisition cost. But I don't want to, Linkon, I don't want to steal your thunder. So before we crack on, why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself and your company, what you're up to?
Thanks very much, Akash. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us if you're joining us live today. Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to speaking about this very important and, as you said, sometimes overlooked subject. Yeah, I'm the founder and CEO of Arys Consultants. We've been in operation for a couple of years now, and I work essentially with tech solutions providers to help them design and scale transformational value-led partner programs through what we do. I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to work across sort of SaaS, SI, GSIs, and data infrastructure companies, building and supporting go-to-market frameworks, program realignment strategy implementations that blend operational efficiency with partner-led growth. And I guess if you would put it in a nutshell, our mission is to make partner programs not just scalable, but strategic assets that align costs with long-term value. So that's us.
Amazing. Thank you, Linkon. So Linkon, I would like to kick off our discussion with a very fundamental question. So when we go ahead and design a partner program, and I'm in this role, so I live this every day. So we always often talk about and heavily focused on bringing partner source revenue, how we can build pipeline with partners. So as a partner manager or as a channel or partnership head, we always often talk about partner source revenue, but not talk about the costs associated of driving that revenue to partners. So from your point of view, how important for a successful partner leader is to first understand the cost of running a partner program, and why is it a critical factor of for a successful partner program?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and one that needs to be at the forefront of every partner leader's mind. Leadership at the end of the day, I run a company. I'm worried or there to generate profitability, revenue,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. I'm there to create a margin. So profitability is absolutely key. If you can't see it, you can't be it, and that's very important. It's no use having a ton of inbound revenue when costs aren't controlled. That is going to be a very short-term motion. Great partner programs, I guess, don't just deliver value, they prove it in that sense. So transparency is key to that, and understanding the costs allows partner leaders to advocate for focused resources more effectively. For example, align partner activities with business outcomes, which is very, very important for that internal stakeholder alignment. And I think avoid the trap of treating partner programs like free growth engines based on stakes and handshakes. Those days are long gone with the advent of AI and and the impact of data and applying that data through action-led points is absolutely huge. I think without clear cost understanding, it's hard to prioritize the right initiatives, forecast ROI, and align cross-functional teams like finance and sales, who are going to be your biggest advocates for a successful program.
Yeah.
I think and also because as a rule, partnerships are directly tied to CAC. So in respect to lowering customer acquisition costs and boosting conversion rates. So if you're speaking that language of customer acquisition costs, which most of the RevOps team are speaking, and how you can affect that, then yeah, you're going to get a much sturdier seat at the table.
Yep. I after hearing you on this topic, I can quickly correlate this topic with our own personal finance topic, whenever we go and talk about our personal finance, we always factor in our household expense. What are we going to what is it going to cost on monthly basis? So it doesn't matter how much you earn. Ultimately, it matters how much you save, right?
100%.
So I believe same goes for a partner program. It really doesn't matter how much revenue are coming through partners. What is it costing you?
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
as you said, that is going to drive your profitability.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. You can use that in a personal level as well. Somebody asked me the other day, what is your definition of financial success? And I said, look, if you earn $4,000 a month, but you only have $2,000 a month on outgoings, you're financially successful. It's as simple as that.
100%. It's basic economics. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had a great stat the other day from my friend Elena, the founder of Partner B2B, in regards to the link between lowering.
I know her. I met her once. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. I love what she does, what the guys are doing as
Yep,
well.
absolutely.
And you know, in regards to the link between lowering CAC, like we've just mentioned through partner motions, they said up to 72% of companies say that customer acquisition costs are lowered through partnerships rather than direct acquisition methods. You know, that stat alone is a head turner.
Okay, so I know it's an important topic, but in the past I've talked to a couple of partner leaders that, hey, do you factor in your costs? And sometimes they have always come back to me and say it's difficult to measure and track. Okay, so from your experience, I know you are doing a lot of work on this subject. So when we go and walk around our partner program, and let's say I show that enthusiasm that I want to talk and factor in the cost, what are the common pitfalls that you see that as a partner leader I should be considering in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we'll, conscious of time, we'll break it down into three. The three most common pitfalls that we see when advising into organizations. Probably top of the list is forgetting about opportunity costs. So time and resources invested in low yield partners that take the focus away from the more strategic ones. I think, yeah, that is top of the tree. I think underestimating the indirect costs is also something that is big, you know, i.e. time spent by sales, marketing, product, on partner motion touch points that often goes untracked in an organization. So everybody with a touch point to do with partners, those costs sometimes are misappropriated or simply ignored. And I think number three, probably lack of scalability planning. You know, many leaders build programs manually without accounting for future automation or system integration needs for scalability. So it's future-proofing partner motions simply because they're just never a static enterprise.
Yep. No, very well you said. I always thought about there are many hidden costs and opportunity costs associated with partner program. So I know you talked about these two categories, but let's expand this topic because this is important in order to hopefully capture most of your costs associated with the partner program. So are these the only two categories that are there that we should be considering when we are going ahead and defining that cost structure, or do you see there are more additional categories that we should be factoring in addition to your indirect cost and opportunity cost? And could you also elaborate each of these categories with some use cases, some examples? So that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, what we've done, worked hard on redefining partner acquisition costs because, again, they're almost an untapped benefit or resource when most people consider them the enemy. They actually can be your greatest friend. I think to gain an accurate cost profile of your program, the system that we've come up with needs to take into account four primary considerations. And those for us And if nobody takes anything away from this webinar other than this would be my absolute highlight to keep in mind. So direct costs, i.e. partner managers, training, onboarding, MDFs,
Right.
tools like PRM, CRM integrations, etc. So direct costs directly related to your partner program that you need to run it. Operational costs will be the second point. Shared headcount, content development, legal requirements, sales, product support, etc., etc. So operationalizing your motion. Third would be strategic costs. So data integration, attribution setup, CRM customizations, again, the future proofing it from a tech stack point of view for scalability, and customer support loads as well. You know, a lot of people overlook that, which is a very important strategic cost when it comes to the sustainability of successful programs. And I think number 4 would have to be opportunity costs, time spent managing inactive or misaligned partners versus high potential ones. So, i.e. the value that is lost through managing low yield partners or low value partners who might be part of the 80-20 that we talk about all the time. So yeah, the misalignment of that time spent managing inactive or misaligned partners versus high potential partners in the form of value lost is a very strong point, number 4.
Got it. No, I love it. The strategic cost is you consider as a separate category, which I don't think many of us in our industry consider that as part of our overall cost structure. So I'm really glad that you called it out.
I think it's foundational because cost shifts as program matures.
Yeah.
You know that as well as I do. You know, from initial enablement, go selling, go marketing,
absolutely,
to strategic alignment efforts. You know, these all must be taken into account when applying resourcing or forecasting. 100%.
Okay, so let's say I've created this really nice 4 categories that you just outlined. So if I have to monitor all the costs on an ongoing basis, what would be the frequency and ideal frequency that I should be looking at? That hey, it should be my bi-yearly activity, or it should be my quarterly activity. What would you recommend there for a partner leader?
Yeah, for us, it's usually a quarterly activity for those, because again, those costs, strategic costs, like we've just said, mature and change. The tech stack costs and tech stack capabilities and requirements will change. So for us, yeah, usually that would go along with QBRs because everybody's in the room and speaking to each other, and then you can have the data ahead of those QBRs to then make informed decisions on the action plans and the responsibility governance of who will carry out those action plans based on that data.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. So Linkon, I mean, we have outlined these categories, but I do understand that I think you have been working on this PAC framework lately, which even I would love to understand on this call. So would you like to share that framework or structure that anyone on this call can take away as a standard framework if they are interested in factoring in all the costs in one place?
Yeah, absolutely. We've developed what we call the PAC framework, and it's kind of modeled after traditional CAC models, just so that we're aligned with the CAC, like we were speaking about earlier on. But it's tailored to partner ecosystems, and essentially it forces partner leaders to separate upfront investment from ongoing run rate, essentially. I have a deck. Can you share that deck if it's available?
Okay, let me add that. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm just going to run through this, guys, for those who are watching just now. This is a 2-part presentation or 2-part initiative. We have the theoretical, which is the PAC framework presentation we're about to show you, which I'll keep fairly brief, and we'll run through at a decent amount of pace just because we're conscious of time. But this will be available as a post-webinar resource for you to access, so don't get too concerned of it if we're moving too fast. And then I'll show you how we've operationalized it through an MVP dashboard directly correlated to this framework. And that's where we are. So yeah, essentially we start from, okay, well, what are the key missteps in partner management when it comes to when it comes to partner acquisition costs. And that quote below is a direct quote saying that traditional partner cost models are generally linear and shallow. So what we're trying to do is explode that view, but keep it still simple so that it can be understood and operationalized. So the things that we see are narrow cost focus, for example, lack of tier evaluation, ignoring potential value, i.e. overlooking the strategic advantages that prevent leveraging full partner capabilities effectively. So for us, what we're looking to do, and through this new partner acquisition model, is to make sure that we're undergoing holistic cost assessments, smart revenue contribution, and that is scalable and adaptable, i.e. designed to evolve with business needs, making it easy to implement, as we've just mentioned, and adjust as we go and as necessary. So essentially what it does is not only calculate the true cost of acquiring and maintaining partners, but also aligns with the value-led and transformational partnership strategies that we advise into organizations by helping businesses determine true profit margins. And we break that down into the 4 cost parameters that we've already covered, and we can have a look at those in a little bit more detail now. So the strategy and the implementation side of it is identifying and analyzing the cost of the direct costs, looking at the operational costs, as we've said, to ensure effective partner management tools, assess the strategic costs, and then calculate the opportunity costs. And that's where this all comes down to. Again, we're working on those 4 basic cost categories that we have redefined. So as the quote says there, understanding the 4 key cost layers is essential for effective partner management and to a lot of people keeping your job. So that is a quick description and typical inputs of the direct costs, the operational costs, strategic costs, and opportunity costs. Again, this will be available post-webinar so you can download to reference for future. But this is the things that we found that works. So ultimately, we're calculating the PAC. So this is our equation. So partner acquisition costs equal those 4 cost categories divided by active revenue contributing partners. So again, those 4 costs divided by active revenue contributing partners. Adding tier-based profitability indexing. So as it says here, every partner won't deserve the same investment. So we've introduced a value-based partner tiering index model that modifies PAC by projected ROI potential. So essentially it is adjusted partner acquisition cost per partner equals raw PAC times the multiplier. So what we do is we take those 4 strategic costs and we break those down into tier A, B, C, and D. A being strategic transformational partner, and D being at-risk misaligned partners. And then what that comes up with is essentially as true partner profitability. Once you've got that raw PAC, you can then link that to the partner's contribution to get true profit margin. So the true profit margin equals partner revenue minus PAC minus rev share incentives. And then this can be applied across tiers, types, et cetera, et cetera. And this is just a toolkit components for businesses, because then you can build this around partner operations and revenue workflows, and then you can come up with enhance the depth of the collaboration by incorporating AI, for example, for predictive analytics to simulate and forecast those few things. But then the question really is, how do we operationalize that concept? And that's where the second part of this comes into play, which is our MDF right, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant. So what we've done, and this is just for more training purposes than anything else, we've then turned those equations, that model, into a profitability tracker and performance tracker. This is a very lean MVP of that equation and model, and this is what it would look like if you were to put it into a dashboard that could be integrated into certain tech stacks. So that takes the tiers, as we've already said, tier A, B, C, and D, top performing partners to low performing partners, and gives us a snapshot of profitability by region, and gives us a heat map of the PAC versus profit margin, and each one of those snapshot of top 5 most profitable partners and top 5 least profitable partners, again, so that we can see them across the board. And then it comes down to our pack calculator with, again, snapshot with type, region, tier, etc. With the raw pack calculation, adjust pack calculation, which gives us our true profit margins and shows us from top to bottom. So if and then on the back of that, then we run a forecasting tool, so which is very important for future growth scenarios. So if we had a 30% increase in a revenue growth scenario for a company, and we had a 20% reduction in SE and OPCs, and then we run that forecast, that then gives us the total revenue that they would produce, the total partner acquisition costs, and then obviously the profit margin forecasted on the revenue growth scenario and cost reduction scenario. So that is the operationalized side of what we do based on the presentation that I've just shown you.
Well, this is amazing, Linkon. I know we talked about this framework when we met in Edinburgh, I think last month. So I think following that conversation, even personally, I have started using that framework to start capturing some of our ongoing costs, and this has been really helpful. So my natural question was, we talked about these categories, these model, and there are a lot to unpack. So we are going to share the deck with our audience after the session, and they can go ahead and they can, I'm pretty sure you are easily reachable. They can reach out to you if they have any questions around the framework, the processes around that. So I know, so this requires a lot of data in order to fully operationalize this framework. So there are a lot of data points that we as partner leader need to start capturing in, right? So there are some costs associated with your direct, indirect that can be easily, sorry, excuse my voice. So there are a lot of direct, indirect costs that can be pulled in from your PRM and MDF platforms such as Mindmatrix. So there are a lot of clients that are there on our platform. They can identify what's their running MDF costs look like, how much commission incentives they are paying out to their partners. And once they start factoring those costs in on the technology, they can start bringing other costs such as strategy costs, opportunity, and truly tie that data set with their ongoing partner source revenue. So do you think that bringing these data sets together on a platform like Mindmatrix and leveraging data from account mapping tools such as Crossbeam, so this is how people can operationalize and see the complete ROI of their partner program? Anything you would like to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Just quickly, I think as per what we've just shown, once you know your costs, you can plug them into your PLTV CAC ratios and then tie them to real pipeline or revenue attribution using tools like Crossbeam, as you've said, or Partner Tap or ChannelWorks or whoever it may be, and then create a cost to impact map showing how investment areas like onboarding, joint marketing, co-selling translate to deal velocity or expansion. This goes a really long way to gain the leadership buy-in that we were talking about, and we could potentially offer, we've got an Excel spreadsheet, very simple cost to impact map that we could maybe share with the viewers post webinar as well. I'm happy to share that, no problem.
Sure. So one of the things you recently you just talked about is PLTV, right? So I know it's important. We always talk about the customer lifetime value, but it is equally important to understand your partner lifetime value, right? So in addition to that, can you share a quick cost metrics that we as partner leaders should be looking at, and it should be part of our regular cadence?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to split those into early stage and mature stage programs. Really important.
That's fair.
Because they're two completely different things, especially when it comes to PLTV. I think early stage, keep it simple, track cost manually if you have to, and make sure that has essentially got something that tells you by partner stage what they are, and that's absolutely fine. Focus on repeatable and time-based inputs like hours spent onboarding, calls made, etc., and avoid overbuilding. I think especially early stage companies, and I know this as well as most people. Your biggest cost is always going to be your time. For mature programs, I think use automation tools to track attribution, partner performance, resource allocation, like Mindmatrix, a fantastic platform to be able to do that. For most people looking for automation tools, tie headcount to platform costs and to partner cohorts. I think that's also really important. Sometimes they're not tied together, and then you'll lose the view, the transparency of those costs. I think introduce layered budgeting in there is also huge, because it essentially gives, i.e. base costs versus growth initiatives, can be a really powerful motivator.
Yeah. So do you think, I'm glad you talked about a partner leader who's running a fairly new partner program compared to a partner manager who has a partner leader who has a slightly matured partner program. So do you think, after factoring in these framework, different cost structure, does the overall profitability differ according to the maturity of the partner program?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. I think, the transformative value-led motions that we do, we actually use a tiering system, which is a little different based on value. What we see a lot of the times is the biggest partner team or the biggest sale team usually wins, and then get the biggest resources or MDF funding simply because they're the biggest. But that generally keeps the little guys little and the big guys big. So I think it's very important to make sure that the cost metrics, the partner leader is defined and reformed very much by the value that each partner can bring to your organization. 100%.
Yeah. So very rightly said, Linkon. So you talked about running this cost structure as part of our quarterly cadence. I feel that as part of our QBR and ABR activity that the partner teams might be doing with their C-suite or their financial team or their finance team, I feel that bringing the cost structure to the mix and having as part of the ongoing reporting, I think can make a lot of difference. On one hand, I know for sure, especially among all the bigger organizations, their finance team, for sure, they factor in all the cost associated with every business unit, and partnership is a business unit in the business itself, right?
Sure.
So, as partner leader, I feel that if we have the data sets around cost and the overall revenue that are coming in from partnership, I think we will have a much better and effective conversation with the senior leader in the company. What do you think?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think that's the thing. I think, if you're a partner leader reporting into your finance team or C-suite, at minimum, you have to be reporting partner acquisition costs. You have to be reporting partner lifetime value costs, costs per active partner, revenue per $1 spent on partner program, and time to first revenue from partners. I think those 5 are minimum. Those core metrics create visibility and reinforce that your program is a strategic growth channel directly tied to the business objectives, not just a relationship hub, but an indirect sales hub. And I think that's really important. If you can tie those revenue metrics and strategic growth levers directly to the business objectives, then everybody is swimming in the same direction, aiming for the same goal. And it helps for the internal alignment that we speak about all the time, that sometimes is more important than the external alignment.
Very cool. We are ultimately talking about unit economics, right?
Yeah.
So we as partner leader, we need to be acclimatized with this process.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I know we are almost at a time, Linkon. So I really want to have some time dedicated to the last part of our discussion, which is based on our discussion so far, what are the top 3 things that you would like to elaborate and share with the audience that, hey, if you're a partner leader, if you're managing, doesn't matter managing a startup program or slightly mature program. So what are the top 3 things you would like to recommend to, let's say, a partner leader like me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great question. It's a complex beast, but I think top 3 would probably, well, I'd start with unit economics. Unit economics is absolutely key. Build a pack versus PLTV model, per partner type or tier. Really, really important. I think number two, create attribution discipline early on. Lack of attribution, especially internally, cross-departmentally, is an absolute program killer. Align with sales ops to track partner influence, deals reliable, marketing, pre-sale and post-sale CS and AE teams. And I think probably number three, use a tiered investment strategy, i.e. what we were talking about earlier on. Invest more in high-performing or high-potential partners and avoid spreading resources too thin across both high and low performing partners. Yeah, I think they would be top three.
Amazing. Thank you, Linkon. You are spot on. So we are at the end of our discussion. Thank you, Linkon, for joining in, and everybody else who have been tuning in with us. See you next time.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.